Well, it's most importantly 3 points this afternoon, but it seems to the Whitby Town way, doesn't it? Don't make it easy. 3-2 against FC United in Manchester this afternoon. Just your thoughts on that one?
3 points, and that's all that matters really. At the end of the day, we come into it on some really good form. Obviously, won our last two, and we just wanted to continue that momentum a little bit and continue that confidence that we had from those games. Difficult place to come, but really good setup here, really good stadium. I think the club's had some really good times here over recent times, so the lads are quite confident in themselves as well, and got off to a great start obviously with the early goal. Right from what we'd worked on and what we told the lads, and a perfect start for us with Hazzy, and then a moment of magic from timing to send us into half time 2-0 up. Like I said, it's never the easy way at Whitby Town, and although we scored a wonder goal with Hazzy, it sort of ended up at a nervy last 10 minutes from being really comfortable. So 3 points, that's all that matters, and hopefully that goes a long way to being safe. I mentioned to the lads before the Lancaster game, excluding that Macclesfield one, I wanted to get the maximum points total we possibly could out of the next 4 games, and it seems that we've waited at the most pressurising and important time of the season to put together our best run of the season, and I think the lads deserve huge credit for it.
Yeah, and going back to that first Aaron Haswell goal, it sort of settled things down a tad, because at that point FC not exactly on top as such, but you could tell there were potentially starting to build a bit of momentum, but Haswell finding the net there just seemed to settle Whitby down into the river.
They're a good team, and they pass the ball around well on what's usually it's probably not as good as they'd like it to be at this time of the season, but it's still one of the better surfaces in the league, and they knock the ball around well, and they prove that. I've got no doubt they probably had a little bit more possession of us today, but I feel that the way we set up and the way we set traps to sort of entice them through a little bit and sort of get them on the counter attack. The second goal was a great example of that. We implemented that plan really well on the day, and it was a great goal for that first one. Obviously has a little nick on its way in, but the all counting it set us off on the way to a great first half.
Yeah, and then that second goal from Matthew Tyman obviously got the lot blast one against Warrington Rylands. This one possibly even better, and certainly then I put it when he saw the goalkeeper in the position, it was another moment of magic from Tyman too into the trot.
Yeah, it's what we no disrespect to their keeper, but he does that a lot, and it's the way they play really. It seems to play as an extra centre back at times, and he can find himself on the turnover, quite a way outside the box. And great finish by Timon, great technique again, as it was last week. And like I said, it sent us off into half time with a real comfortable 2-0 lead, and we probably deserve that.
Yeah, then going into the second half, you could tell that FC United were going to react and made an attacking change at the break. And it's certainly early on signs that we're going to try and sort of pen us in a bit more, but that goal from Aaron Haswell, the third one there, I don't think he'll really get a cleaner strike and goal, and not exactly renowned from his goal scoring record, has he? But certainly more to magic for him there.
Yeah, he's like I mentioned, from another set play, they're so important in this league, and it's not always that first one that counts. That it's that second one, and Hazzy was in a great spot to pick up the header that was out, and a great touch and volley. And, it was the type of goal that you'd see higher up the pyramid. So huge credit to Hazzy. I thought he was excellent today. He's been excellent for us all season, Hazzy. But he's played probably not in his favourite position over the last couple of games, and he just never looks out of place, Hazzy. And he, like I said, he's done brilliant for us. Not the only one today, obviously. It was a huge team effort to get off the line, but thankfully we did.
Yeah, and it was at one point 3-0 up on the 80th minute, looking comfortable, and then 2 minutes later back to 3-2. Obviously an unfortunate own goal from Nathan McGinley initially, and then Adam Lafondra a moment later tapping in. It's one of those where we sort of look back at likes of Blythe away in the season where it's sort of gone wrong from being in comfortable positions. Certainly made it nervy, but the main thing is that Whitby managed to see it out in the end.
Yeah, it was even at 3-0. Although they had a lot of the ball, and the gunner then, they sort of got nothing to lose in that situation. And it was probably the only way they were going to score. I think the way both teams set up today. We set up in our familiar 3-5-2, and their overloads were always going to be down the sides, and we just we were happy for them to do that and to cross the ball into us three who were in the middle and help clear things up. But I think the only way they were going to score was off that, and Unfortunately, it was Guinness who scored. It was a great goal, to be fair to him. A little bit of miscommunication between him and Blandy maybe, but no, it's obviously it got them going, and unfortunately they got another one a minute later. But great character shown by the boys, great commitment, and a huge effort to see us over the line over those last 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, and then obviously looking ahead, it's a quick turnaround back in action on Monday. Quite a few games going on tomorrow in the division, and I don't know how much you're going to be looking at those results, but it'd be quite nice knowing potentially, come Monday. Obviously, it was already in Whitby's hands, but are you going to be looking much tomorrow what goes on, or is it just going to be full focus on winning from Whitby perspective?
I think you always have one eye in it. It'd be hard not to. As a football person, and whether you're a player, staff, media like yourself, you always have an eye on other results in and around you, and tomorrow will be totally no different. But as I've said over recent games, we can only control what we can control, and that's what's in front of us. And thankfully, all over the last 3 games, we've as I mentioned earlier, we've come into some great form recently. Right up there in terms of the top of the division. So come at a crucial time for us, obviously, and we'll be full steam ahead. In our prep work for what was another big game on Monday.
Yeah, and just looking at your team for that one as well, a few bodies back involved. Sam Collins and Michael Woods both on the bench this afternoon. I'm sure they'll have some involvement. Really potential, but a massive time. It looks like a dead leg for him. Hopefully that's nothing too serious to rule him out.
No, he was great. Especially first half, Matty. I felt like he really bullied their 2 centre backs a little bit today. He held the ball up really well for us, and I think it was always going to take one of their centre backs to sort of clatter in, which happened to him early in the second half. Which dead leg, like you say, hopefully that's something that can mend over the next couple of days in terms of getting the right treatment to him. But no, with numbers, we're looking quite well. Obviously we've got Colo back, Woodsy's on the bench today, and we'll at the moment, and I've spoken to the physio. It doesn't really seem as though there's anyone else with any knocks and niggles at the moment. So a few tight bodies, no doubt, but it's the same for both teams on Monday, and then we'll go into it and hoping to continue the good run we've been on.
Thanks, Lids.
Thank you.